It's just very simple to be like, this invader that's coming in, it's moving north, it's spreading, it's arrived. Like, it just sort of is very easy clickbait in our day and age.
Over the years, we've had many media panics about swarms and hordes, about infestations and plagues of dangerous insects and arachnids that promise to rain death and destruction down on the defenseless American public. My guest today is comedian Akilah Hughes, host of the podcast How Is This Better?, a show that challenges the grifters who are controlling our government, our attention, and so much of our daily lives. She's also known for her work on the podcasts What a Day and Rebel Spirit, as well as her YouTube channel, Akilah Obviously. Today we're talking about our American fear around sensationalized bugs, from killer bees to infected mosquitos to floating spiders, and even back to one of the very first freakouts around something called the kissing bug. We'll talk about the realities behind these alleged infestations and what they can tell us about the language of our politics and the way mass hysteria can create monstrous problems from perceived threats, no matter how tiny. I'm your host, Chelsey Weber-Smith, and this is American Hysteria. I am so excited to talk to our guest today about a topic that I have wanted to cover since the very beginning of our show, and it's just never happened. So thank you for bringing this to us, Akilah, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Great to be infesting the pod.
Yeah, just cross over here and scare the shit out of us. I'm so excited. Yeah, as I mentioned, this is just one of those topics that feels like so ubiquitous in culture, but like we don't really know what killer bees are or like really how they made their way into, it's like I think of like The Simpsons are covering killer bees, and it's just even if it makes it to The Simpsons, we have to talk about it. So you're going to tell us a little about the history of killer bees, and I believe maybe some other insect related hysteria panics.
Totally. And so, I brought this topic because, I have my own weird intersections with it, but my whole life I've been a little weirded out by large amounts of bugs. I think that that's like human nature. And like, for some reason, one of my most vivid like childhood images is looking at the VHS cover of Silence of the Lambs, where she has like a bee.
Yep. Oh yeah. I know it.
And so just like knowing that like there is this fear of bees. I've also never been stung, and I saw the movie My Girl probably too young. And there's so many things to do with like swarms of animals or bugs. And so we'll start with killer bees, but this is throughout our nation's history. There are just scapegoated bugs. And so I did start with killer bees. I think that is like the one that we're all sort of like very aware of.
Yes, absolutely.
Throughout all media. Like for some reason why bees are the scariest. I guess most people have been stung by bees. Mm-hmm. That's what I would have to assume. And so I think that people are acutely aware of the pain of that, which makes the idea of like a foreign bee invader that is just like thousands of them even scarier. But we really see this beginning of like killer bees in pop culture in the 1970s and 80s in the US.
Yeah.
And like, I sort of found this, like, I believe it's a little racist. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I was wondering if we were going to go there. I was imagining.
Right. We have to sort of address, like, since then, we've sort of dropped the Africanized word before killer bees. But back then, that was really the phrasing that was used in media and pop culture, because there were these, quote unquote, Africanized honeybees that were more aggressive, that were more, dangerous, I guess. And I think that like that is where it starts, is like the exoticization of these bees.
Right. I'm so excited to dive into this. I really, it's probably going to go places I didn't expect. And something that occurred to me is that you've never been stung by a bee. And I think that's so interesting because it's almost like I've been stung by a bee, countless times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, I got stung by a bee right under my eye, and I thought it was in my eye, which is, isn't that just a horrifying thought?
Like, that's like probably the plot of a horror movie from the 90s. Like, it's so visceral.
It's like the opening scene where, and then you know that the bees are coming. But I just wonder, too, like in this hysterical way, the fear, I wonder, of being stung, is that actually worse than the sting itself? Because it sucks. Like, it sucks to get stung, but it's not a big deal. But, I think that's the thing, is when people don't know what something is like, it's so easy for it to reach these like killer proportions.
1,000,000%. And like, I would say for my own personal fear of it, it is like, because people who've been stung by bees can't equate it to some other sort of sting. Like, they're like, it's not like a mosquito bite. It's not like, I've been bitten by bed bugs, and I don't have bed bugs for clarity. I'm a clean person. But
congratulations.
I lived in Orlando for a time, and I sat in a car that had bed bugs all throughout it, and it ruined my life.
Got it. Don't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so everyone who's been stung by a bee, which is most people, is just like, it's its own thing. So it's like this fear of the unknown, to your point, and also this fear of being allergic secretly, which apparently isn't a thing. Like, if you're allergic to bee stings, you're often allergic to other bugs. Okay. And so like, I've been assured by doctors and allergists that like, if it happens to me one day, as if it's like this very exotic thing that might occur, but if it happens, like, the chances of me having my throat close up and me like getting my-girled, very low.
You don't need to get like a preemptive EpiPen to carry around for the rest of your life, right?
Exactly. Like, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by any other number of bugs by now. So I would say that there is like, just for me, a psychological element of like, it's going to happen and I'm going to die, even though that is very unlikely.
Yeah.
And I think that is also like, even if you've been stung by bees, like very rarely are people in situations where they're like swarmed by bees.
Oh my gosh. And that time, I'm going to bring it back to myself. That time I was stung almost in my eye. It was a swarm situation. I sat down on a dock and there was a hive under the dock, just to really give you a future nightmare. My dad had to scoop me up and just like run me away from the situation.
Oh, that's so intense.
And he got stung like several times too. So it was, it can happen. It can happen anytime.
It has happened. And, like, there's so many news stories where people move into a house and hear humming, and then they just like take one wall out and like 50,000 bees just exit and attack them.
Oh my God. And not to sound like I'm making this up, but that did also happen at my
What's going on, Chelsey?
They were coming through the light fixtures. Dude. And then someone came up and opened the wall, and it was honeycomb.
Oh,
it probably wasn't honeycomb, but that it was like,
yeah, like it was their little like hive. They're like intense hive.
I think it was wasps, probably.
Right.
It would have been nicer if it was bees.
And like, wasps are scarier.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny that like, I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not familiar with the media that would like vilify wasps to the same degree. Like,
sure,
it does seem like bees really get the brunt of it, even though wasps are obviously much scarier.
Yes.
And my family's been stung. I love that there's going to be a 20-minute opening about my own like just demented view of.
Hey, we want to get to know you.
Well, I'll just say I did see my brother get stung by a vindictive wasp once. And so like that has compounded it. Like, my brother was spraying it actively with Raid. One wasp, not like a swarm.
Whoa.
And it like flew through the house as he was running and like got him in the back.
God, that's a horror movie.
So I'm like, they're smart. They're so smart.
Yeah, and like an atomic bug or something that's mutated and can resist Raid. It's
1,000,000%.
Wild.
And so like, I guess just to give a little bit more like clarity on the whole killer bees thing, like,
yes,
they were in the Amazon in the 70s. They're from like South Africa, which is funny because that's like where the only white people in Africa are from. But still, it's like Africanized gives us a very specific view. of what that means. They're not thinking Elon Musk with some bees. They're thinking like Nelson Mandela with some bees.
God, I could see Elon Musk doing something weird with bees, though.
Right. That's his next scam. He's like, we're taking the bees to Mars. And so, yeah, in like the 80s, they sort of start crossing through Central America, Mexico. They reach Mexico in 1985. And just the idea of it being an invasive species was enough for that to be the like major issue. The first honeybees that they discovered were in 1985 at an oil field in California.
Okay.
And, there was a permanent colony in Texas in the 90s. And so like what we can understand is like, there's really very few of them, like maybe 10%, 15% ever became the honeybees that get the disease that makes them attack you.
Right, right.
And by 1997, there were a lot more than that. But frankly, like, they're not really killing people, but they are the ones that are swarming. And I do think that that's probably the plot point that we're getting from My Girl. He can't see without his glasses.
Right.
All of that.
What year did that movie come out? I wonder.
1991. So truly right in the cut. Like,
yep. Okay. So we're already getting anti-bee propaganda out of Hollywood. Yes. Okay.
Immediately. And the truth is, like, they can't really survive for extended periods. They can't survive harsh winters or like really dry summers. So like, it's just not a major issue. But, lo and behold, we love sensationalizing any sort of bug in this country. And that's like, for me, that's the main one that I think of. But as I grew up, there were more and more.
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, even going back, like, as we, I was thinking about this topic, it's like, I think we talked about something like this. And we actually did in an episode we did about the history of like the horror genre as it relates to history and what's happening socially. Yeah. And there was this amazing, like this strange thing that happened in the 40s after World War II. And then into the 50s, we started to panic that bugs were like being affected by fallout and the atomic bomb, right. And that they were growing like
the Godzilla-fication.
Exactly, of bugs, which like it was like this huge problem, and they used it to actually market pesticides, which is not surprising. But maybe we'll talk more about that later. But it's a very, and I'm sure it's not just American, that's just our context today, but I believe that it is a very American, we're just so weird about like hyper cleanliness in a way that is kind of like out of control. And I do think that's like there's some of that in our bug panics.
I mean, I also think there tends to be like, maybe there is like an American psychology that's just like at the root of the entire country. But I think about like, the sphere of invasion, the sphere of, and I think there's a lot of guilt in America about invading the U.S. Like, I think that it's just a lot of sort of like, I'm not going to address it. We're not supposed to be here.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And so, yeah, I do think that like, there's just this idea of like, well, we did it, so someone else or something else can do it. And I think that like, we sort of externalize our fear onto bugs because there's bugs everywhere. They live outside.
And they're like an enemy we don't understand. It's like germs kind of, where it's like this ultimate possible villain that is like, we can't see him.
Totally. And, maybe it goes back to like, the biblical like locusts and plagues, like just these ideas of like, what is carrying the next disease? And so, we can definitely start with bees, but this is painted on to mosquitoes around 9/11. We just keep getting things.
Okay. I don't know about this. I'm excited. All right. Do you want to continue on? Get us back on the bee track?
1,000,000%. And so like, I think that like our media really ran with it. I'm sure there can be like a great supercut of just like bee moments. I am one of the people who was late to watching The Mummy, but like, I do just know the idea of like the mummy and the swarm of bugs, like a mummy becoming bugs.
Yeah. Like, it's good. It's good on the ride to Universal Studios. They like, they like put little air like shots into your leg. It's good.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, like even that, it's like, that's like an effect that can happen to people. And like, we have a visceral response. Like I'm sure every time everybody lifts their legs and screams.
Yeah. I mean, it's ingrained in us.
Yeah. And so, I think by now in 2026, like killer bees does feel like a dated phenomenon, but like it just sort of is the main one. also we have this sort of benefit of media being a thing when this happens. Like there have been historically other bug fear propaganda campaigns from the government. Like when I was doing research about this, I found that like in the 1800s, even there was like a lot of fear about boll weevils, which is like just a kind of bug that would eat like cotton crops. And so like they would, you know, print out, because you had to print out your propaganda.
Of course.
Like here's a poster.
At the printing press. Yeah.
Exactly. We're going all the way back. And so like it was a problem, you know, it spread through the cotton industry. Newspapers were like, this is an economic crisis. And so like it became this thing where if there was any bug on cotton at all, like people would just sort of like, that's going to be the end of cotton. And I think that like, again, American history is interesting in that it's like not quite as long as like any other
nowhere near as long. I know. We're the kids of the world.
Right. And so it's like, it's funny that it coincides with like slavery ends. You know, we have the cotton gin, so at least there's some other thing that can come in and, you know, continue the sort of textile market in the US. But there's still, I think, sort of like this panic that it's like, well, now there's bugs on it, so now everything's over. And it's an externalizing of like the actual fear, which is like, well, shit, we don't own people, and like what's gonna happen?
I think that is a very apt like metaphor that you're giving us right now. Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I've been alive 36 years. Cotton has still been a major fabric in my life.
The fabric of our lives, in fact.
Right.
Yeah.
So the boll weevil's not apocalyptic.
But I guess I do get the like, I mean, everything aside, I do get the panic, like the biblical locust panic, because it is realistic that bugs could like actually consume an important food source or a source of, you know, something that the country is completely dependent on, in that case, cotton. So it's like, I think that makes sense to a point, but then we get the stories that mix together with cultural fears, and then we get some bullshit that has nothing to do with that actual fear.
Right. Some poster designer starts making it, they start drawing the bees too big. And
and then where are we at? I know.
Right. And so, I mean, I guess like just to say, like, I have a theory that, you know, is just a theory, but I'm from Kentucky. It's part of sort of the eastern seaboard that gets cicadas every so often, which is very much like an infestation. Like they're just everywhere. They're so loud. Like, I don't know if you have any experience with them.
I lived in Virginia for a couple of years and they were there. Yeah.
So yeah, right. And like you step outside, you're crunching on the shells.
They're
like,
everywhere.
It's too many senses involved. It's like I'm hearing them, I'm seeing them, I'm crunching them.
Glad we can't smell them, right?
Right. If I can smell a cicada,
thank God, I'm out of here.
That's my 13th reason. I can't do it anymore. And so I do think also that it's just like when, and this is so long ago, like people were probably worse at tracking these sorts of things. But I think that there is just a sense of like, it's the 1800s. We don't know that maybe every 17 years is when it gets really bad. And I think that we also just like in our, you know, advanced world want to feel like we have some sort of dominion over nature, that we can control the population of vermin. And I think that like, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, you know, we got to learn to live within our own ecosystem, but that's the main one. Would you like me to go through some other eras of bugs? Or
I would love that. Yes, please. More after this. And now back to the show.
I mean, so like, again, killer bees really, for some, I just think it's because the stingers, like, that's why it's so scary.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned that in the 80s and 90s in California, there was something called like, they were Mediterranean fruit flies, but they shortened it to med flies.
Which sounds kind of scary.
Right. Like, why do you have to shorten it?
Yeah, I guess it's
Mediterranean feels like fun.
Yeah.
But med sounds like disease.
It sounds like disease. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And so like, basically there's this huge media attention. It's a little bit before our time. So I do think that like, you know, it's kind of been forgotten, but the LA Times covered it kind of relentlessly. It became someone's beat, and it became like a culture war where there were protests, merch, crisis, all of these sorts of things. Yes. There were conspiracy claims. You know, people were saying that they were released by the government because they didn't like California, you know. People don't know, but it was honestly like it became a problem because they were changing the ways that pesticides were used. And so suddenly we have an influx of fruit flies that are no longer resistant to, or they are resistant to that sort of pesticide that was changing. The ones that don't give you cancer, you know what I mean? Like once they start caring about humans, they stop killing everything else, and people get mad about it.
Yes.
The one that I remember super vividly was, and this is like the one that I linked to 9/11, is West Nile.
Right. Everybody heard about that. Yeah.
Yes. Major. And again, it's like, they didn't say Africanized, but like the moment you hear Nile, you're like, this is
not I haven't from been here.
Yeah. Right. Foreign
we don't know you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You just hear like someone cock a gun. So it's just like, it's very aggressive. But, you know, they were sort of found in New York City first. This is 1999, so pre 9/11, but like this continues through post 9/11. And it was sort of the fact that like these bugs also carry disease. So it's like you get the virus from West Nile mosquitoes. They're not just biting you and it's uncomfortable. It's like, and now you can have a fever. And I need to look. Do people die from West Nile?
I have no idea.
I feel like no. I feel like it was just sort of like you go to the hospital and they're sort of like, okay, people died.
But how many people died?
130 total. Like not.
And rest their souls. We care for them a lot.
Yes, exactly. It still matters. I'm not saying they don't matter, but I am saying that like 130 in a country of 300 million.
When we're talking about a panic and a hysteria, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no threat. It just means that it's like vastly overblown and takes our attention
100%.
over to something else. Then maybe, you know, there's better things to be paying attention to and more important things to be afraid of.
Totally. And like, I think it like also is important to note that like, if you get West Nile encephalitis, 1 in 10 will probably die. Like it's a big neurological thing. But what that tells us is not that many people are getting bit.
Yeah, very true.
Like,
very true.
And I live in New York City now. It is one of the most mosquito-y places I've ever lived. So it was like not that many of the mosquitoes that were here got infected with the virus.
Right.
And so I think that like there was just sort of this feeling that like people were worried that you can't tell, you know, which mosquito has it or not. And if you're getting bit, you don't know. It's just something that became a bigger deal. You know, bed bugs become a much bigger deal for some reason in the 2000s. Like I grew up saying like, good night, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Yep. No, and I kind of didn't know they were real. I thought maybe they were tooth fairy kind of thing.
Right. Like a cute sort of idea, not a thing. And then I have been bitten. They're horrible. I honestly don't like, they say there are lots of ways to get rid of them.
I don't know.
I don't know that you get rid of them. I think you throw your shit away.
I think it's like famously very, very difficult to get rid of them.
Yeah. Like I'll say I moved states. I was like, and they can have it.
Yeah. Just take New York. Yeah.
Yes. I'm out of here. And it just became one of those things where it's like people didn't know where they were getting them from. And so it was like, they could be at the movie theater. They could be, you know, on the subway seats. They could be in a cab. They can be anywhere that you're in public and sitting in. Like typically they're in your house.
Yeah. Hence the name. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that, I think it sort of reached peak between the 2000s and 2010s. There have been sort of like 3 more since then. If you want me to like finish the cycle and then we can sort of dive into it.
Yeah, I do. But I am curious about the 9/11 connection because so the West Nile kind of flared up around like post 9/11 years,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
That's so interesting because it's like, again, it is like a kind of a stand-in for the like frightening
100%.
foreigner who could be anywhere and could be like about to commit a terrorist attack at any moment. Yeah, it's I like to think of things like, you know, in metaphor that way, because a lot of times we are displacing these anxieties that are sometimes warranted, often not. So
and that like to me it does seem like something that, you know, becomes overblown because there is sort of a subtext to what's happening. And like, you know, I was in Kentucky around 9/11. I was a kid. But I do remember this sort of like, there were only 2 Muslim kids at my high school ultimately, so a couple of years later. And I remember talking to them and they were just like, you know, the people in the area are weird to us. Like we definitely don't feel like safe or accepted here. And there was this constant media, you know, Fox News was in its, I mean, maybe it's back in its heyday, who's to say? But was just really focusing on the idea of a threat of the religious, backing of like Muslims, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
It didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like the people who did 9/11 were 3 people.
Yeah. And like very niche group of people that were not really largely connected to
That's right.
other forces. I mean, it's complicated, but.
Right. Exactly. And I think that there's just sort of like, it's easy to paint the idea of foreigners, not just them, but like what they're bringing to a country as like, okay, well, that's like they might bring disease. I feel like Donald Trump has absolutely harped on that lie to like, and people buy it. It's like an easy scapegoat.
Yeah. And I also think it's like when we're talking about the reaction to Muslim people at large in the United States after 9/11, where, as we were saying, it was like a very small group. Yeah. It's like the same thing when we talk about like the invasion or the hordes. It's like people aren't individual people. They're part of this like mass swarm that there's no need to differentiate. It's just like you are part of this, whatever, invasion.
Exactly. And like, it doesn't really matter. It's not on us to discern what is actually the danger or the threat, if there is one. Right. It is just to be like, okay, well, I'm hyper vigilant and it is my job to, sort of figure out how I deal with it.
Right.
I remember, just like fun personal anecdote, we had a swimming pool when I was a kid. We were not rich. I'd like to caveat, like my mom got like a subprime mortgage. It was one of those situations, but there was a swimming pool that most of the time was not like fixed and ready to be swammin'.
Whatever you want.
Swim. And we had neighbors, and it was funny. We were like the only Black family in the neighborhood. And I remember like we never had a problem with our neighbors, but post 9/11, probably around 2003, West Nile fever is happening like all throughout Kentucky. And so we got a letter from like the local environmental people that like someone reported that you have standing water and like they're worried about West Nile. And I just remember like feeling so like, oh my God, are we? And I'm like, this is so ridiculous. Like Kentucky always wants to be the center of attention. We don't have it here.
I was going to say, it doesn't work very often.
Right. Exactly. No one's thinking about us. But it was just sort of like, that was when I realized that it had the sort of hysteria around it had like reached a fever pitch, and like there was nothing to do. Like we ultimately didn't drain the pool. Nobody ever like came and did anything. I think my mom maybe yelled at the neighbors to be like, stop reporting us.
Yeah, rightly.
Like it's fine. But that was when I realized like, okay, this is sort of a weird phenomenon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving past that, the last 3 that have been sort of like major in our culture, 2016, Zika. Zika virus.
Right.
It's mosquitoes. And it's also like there were travel warnings for South American countries. If you had gone to Costa Rica, it was like you had to have like a holding pattern so you didn't get other people sick. And the real fear that was pushed through the media was that like if your baby gets infected. So now there's sort of this like like fear of like passing it on to your own kids, or, if you somehow interfering with the pregnancy, there being birth defects. And so that was, I think, like really interesting timing with Donald Trump becoming president, just because it's like, there's sort of this return to this evangelical Christian thing, and pregnancy became sort of hyper focused and all of that. And I think that, I tried to like remember what I remembered about it outside of the media posturing about it. And I do remember just like people, I was in my mid to late 20s and people were just very much like, well, if I wanted to get pregnant, would this happen? And it's, again, it was not that many people. I'm going to ask the internet, how many people got Zika?
Your algorithm's going to get weird.
Yes, exactly. Here we go. In the US, 224 people.
Yeah.
And that was contained to 2016. Like, it didn't, I think there were 7 in 2017 and then none ever again. Yeah. And so like a tiny, tiny percentage of people were ever contracting it. People weren't, not traveling to those places. So it is sort of like this overblown fear of like, well, if it can happen there, it can happen here. The last 2, 2020, I actually forgot that this was a thing because so much happened in 2020.
Sure.
Really on the back burner. But I remember, there's just this one sort of media item about the murder hornets.
I remember the meme of just like I can't take any more.
Yes.
We have all this and now we have murder hornets. Yep.
Yeah, like it had to be moved to a D storyline. We were dealing with a lot.
Yeah, which is really cute because it is kind of killer bee murder hornet.
1,000,000%. And I bet you someone was like, these are killer hornets. And someone pulled them aside and said, we actually already have killer bees.
Yeah.
Like it's a little too on the nose.
And how do we crank it up and include true crime? Because that's very popular.
Yes,
too.
exactly. People know what murder is. Killing.
We're in murder right now.
And so that story was really about this Asian, again, right there
Shocker.
with COVID. Like it's, I maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but it seems we're always looking in a specific direction.
No, I think you're right.
But it was generally just like northern, not just Asia. Like they were also in Russia.
Which is also interesting in its own way.
Right. We're afraid of them. And it sort of just went super viral because of the name, the visuals. Social media was like truly at a peak because of COVID and people were at home. And, you know, a lot of like wildlife and science communicators spent time trying to like calm the misinformation about it. And like, you know, explaining to this Pacific Northwest that like, this is really only like you guys have to worry about it. And it's not that many. And let's ask the internet, how many people died from murder? Yeah, if I die today, my search history sucks.
Yep. You're welcome.
No one died.
No one, 0. Okay. We've got a big 0. Yep.
Yeah. So way more people died from COVID, to be clear. They're already eradicated. Wasn't really that big of a deal.
And there's always, I feel like, I mean, and this is true kind of across the board, but there's usually experts that are debunking in real time, but it's boring. Nobody's interested in reading like the scientific reasons why everything's fine. And instead, we're going to go with tabloid headlines, which I do believe kind of lead a lot of insect panics. It's like the tabloids just love them.
Right. It's like it just taps into a primal fear. And I guess the final one, which I think is the weirdest, I was living in LA at the time that this happened. This is very much a New York City and like Northeast phenomenon, but the lanternflies, the spotted lanternflies, it's like its own genre of coverage. They're invasive. You can see them, which is like, everybody's like, they're beautiful, but you gotta kill them. Like weirdly, it was just like, you know, I wonder how the Buddhists feel about it because the public framing is you have to kill them on sight. It is your duty as an American to kill the lanternflies because they're invading. And, you know, like the first detection was in 2014 in Pennsylvania. They still have crops in Pennsylvania. Turns out it didn't like kill everything. But in the summers in New York, you know, I moved back here this past summer, and I saw them and I didn't stomp them. And I don't know if that makes me like a criminal. I saw them in DC. I didn't have the heart to do it.
And like, do you really want to just have to kill bugs all day? You know, morally,
like
or
stomping
just
around? It's all of our jobs. Like now some of my brain space is dedicated to the murder of bugs.
Yep. No, not doing that.
But yeah, objectively, like I sort of brought it down to 3 reasons why all of this coverage is so, like why America is so primed for this panic. It's the agriculture situation. Like this country has a lot of farmland. You know, we're trading crops all the time, and it's a very international world now. You know, capitalism has made that the case. And so it's very easy to sort of just like lean into the idea that like this could be happening. And hurting our money, at the very least, hurting our ability to sell things or buy things.
And of course, agriculture is always an unstable industry. Yes. It does kind of feel like we are one, you know, panic away from
this. Now all the crops are fucked.
Exactly. I know.
It's like, tough break. It's unfortunate to be fragile human beings that rely on food and outside sources of health. There's also just like public health has come into focus. I'm curious to see what the next bug panic will be because, you know, COVID has made us very hyper aware of the fact that like things can change very quickly. And the idea of an invisible danger, I think, is very just prevalent now. Yeah. It's easier to sort of be like, okay, well, now we're in the season of this thing. And you know, we love to be anxious about something. There's got to be something in the news to make us hypervigilant all the time. And then there's just the personal responsibility. Obviously, that cranked up in COVID where it was like, you have to wear a mask to protect yourself and others. And if you kill these people because you didn't do it, when like the government could step up and sort of help us out. But to that end, West Nile was the same. It was like, you can't have standing water in your yard. Akilah's family.
We're looking at you.
Right. And, with Zika, it's very easy to sort of just paint mothers as irresponsible. And if there's any problem with the pregnancy, it falls onto them.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a major factor. And then you really got to the heart of it with the invasion language. It's just very simple to be like, this invader that's coming in, it's moving north, it's spreading, it's arrived. Like, it just sort of is very easy clickbait in our day and age.
Yeah.
To be like, what do you mean it's coming? What do you mean it's here?
Yeah. It feels almost like an acceptable way to vent these prejudices that have been instilled in us. We can use similar language, but we're like not talking about people. But then eventually we're talking about people when that becomes such normalized language. And of course, I don't know which came first. I don't know. Did we use language of invasion about insects originally, or was it about people? I don't know. Yeah. But that looks like something we can dive into eventually too.
Yes. I mean, I will say that like, it's also weirdly, and like, just to go back to sort of the 50s in the sci-fi era when the Godzillas of it all, it's like, I do also think that like we're ramping up our space exploration. And so the idea of like space invaders, like all of these things are just like, the idea is something is coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I pulled up my like list of sci-fi movies that were very much that, but there was a 1954 film called Them about giant ants coming to LA. And this is in the Cold War, atomic testing, very real fear era. Like, we've already used these nuclear bombs. And so there's got to be some other externalized fear factor. Tarantula, same sort of like giant bug bee movies. Easy to use a green screen and make them look bigger.
They are so good.
We don't have CGI is far off. And then, I forgot there was a movie literally called The Swarm, which is Michael Caine's sort of breakout role fighting the bees.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I mean, I think here I'll read you something from this pro-pesticide book that was written in the 50s, like in an exact era you're talking about. And I think that it's around atomic bomb. It's also around like the language of war shows up. And it's like, here it goes. The enemy is already here, in the skies, in the fields and waterways. It is dug into every square foot of our earth. It has invaded homes, schoolhouses, public buildings. It has poisoned food and water. It brings sickness and death by germ warfare to countless millions every year. The enemy within, these walking, crawling, jumping, flying pests, destroy more crops than droughts and floods. They destroy more buildings than fire. They are responsible for many of the most dreaded diseases of man and his domestic animals. Some of them eat or attack everything man owns or produces, including man himself.
Right.
So dramatic.
It's like, could it be more dramatic? It's like the whole time you're reading, I'm like, I go to schools and restaurants. I drink water. I'm a person that could get eaten.
I'm a man himself.
Exactly. Like, it's like they are absolutely attacking every single bit of like, okay, well, all of my frames of reference.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, and if you even think about it, like, communism is happening at this time.
Yes.
And you're like, who's a communist? It's like, they could be anywhere. They're, again, this kind of invisible horde of people that want to attack the very fiber of who we are as a nation. And, so I think it makes sense that, again, we're using these metaphors, these like fear metaphors to talk about political issues of the time.
Totally. And there's like, I mean, I don't know if this is just American or maybe it's just sort of as the world has become smaller because we can all travel and see each other and otherize everybody. But like, there is sort of just an addiction to hyperbole. Yeah. Things are always black or white. And it's like, there's the things are fine, which doesn't sell anything.
Yeah, right.
And then there's like, the bugs are everywhere. They're in you. They're on you. They're eating bugs, you. But exactly. And you could become one. They could change you. Same with the communists. Like, you wake up one day and you're just a communist.
Yep. You've been bitten by the fun bug. Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, I think too, like, if we think about like primal human psychology, a bug is like the furthest from a human you can get. It's like there's nothing about a bug that we can emotionally connect to. I mean, I do love bugs. All bugs are God's creatures. And I do take them and I take care of them. But it's harder for me to look at it and look. You can't really look in its eyes. It's not, doesn't have any
if it has a soul, it just makes it tough to see.
And and just this complete lack of individuality that we so value in our culture is, I think it makes sense that we're like treating them like these alien creatures that we can't read their facial expressions. We don't know. Are they mad? I don't know. They don't have anger, I don't think. But you know what I mean? Are they about to attack, you know?
Exactly. And if they all turned on us, there's so many more of them.
We would be screwed. Yeah. And they'll be around long after we're gone. So,
like they're completely indifferent to us, but we are very concerned.
Yes. The meek will inherit the earth, as they say. And I was wondering if you wanted to hear a little bug panic that I found.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? Please. I would love to hear about your bug panic.
I think you'll like this. I just, we were talking about this and I like to hop on over to newspapers.com, which if you don't use, I highly recommend it. You never know what you're going to dig up because I'd never heard of this before. But back in 1899, so we're getting in the time machine
the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine, which is, I guess, kind of what newspapers.com is. So there was a panic around these bugs called, well, they like have a scientific name I'm not going to try to say, but they gained the moniker the kissing bug, which is fun, right?
Yeah.
And they came from South America. From what I found, there wasn't a ton of like what we were talking about, this like metaphor, because immigration, you know, is still mostly European countries that were immigrating. And then the South American, Mexican, all that immigration wouldn't happen for about 10 more years in any meaningful way, it seems like to me. But this was maybe just more of a like early media invention, because this is like right in the heart of when newspapers were becoming just these absolute like story machines that were designed to get our attention, just as they are today. More after this. And now back to the show. The kissing bug, newspapers were reporting, was an epidemic, which is a word we haven't necessarily brought up yet, but you hear that a lot in this like language of illness. And in, you know, the late 1800s, we were pretty focused on cleanliness and the fear of dirty stuff. So this bite didn't cause the symptoms that people were describing, which could include death. It turns out that it is dangerous because 25 years after the exposure, your organs can become damaged. Like it's a little like COVID in that way where you're like not sure, but they didn't know that at the time. So we can't give them credit for
no grace for
them. So it was like the summer and the Washington Post started it all. Shocker. And they were talking about the bite of a strange bug. And pretty soon, the story was like wired across mostly the Midwest and Northeast. And it said that an insidious insect can bite without causing pain and escapes unnoticed, resulting in the place where it has bitten swelling to 10 times its normal size.
Ooh.
Which is gross.
Yeah, it's scary. It's also like you know, is that another bit of hyperbole? Because of like what, the hand? Your whole hand was like,
I mean,
what is 10 times the size of this?
Was
I'm
exactly
holding my hand
question.
up. Listeners, my hand is up.
You just blow it up like a balloon. Like when you used to blow up like rubber gloves.
Yes.
You were doing that in school. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the scientific way of figuring this out.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably just a picture of a hand like that. Like these photos, I guess it had Photoshop. They composited 2 images and they were like, that's a hand. That's a hand. Don't zoom in.
But what I think is really interesting about this one, and I think, you know, probably others throughout history, other bug panics, is that almost always the bug was not seen.
Yeah.
So it was like, I've got this bite And now I have this context that the media is telling me. So I'm going to like project onto this, like, you know, fucking who knows. And there's a million bugs that can bite you.
Right. It could be literally anything. Yeah. You could literally just be allergic to your clothes. But
exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But so we don't actually know the number of people that were bitten or how big of a problem it really was. And I don't know if you know about this, but we did an episode about the urban legend that you swallow 8 spiders a year. Do you know this?
Oh, I do. And like, I sleep with my mouth closed and like, yeah, it's not a brag. I just know myself and my mouth doesn't just flop open. You know, some people are born blessed, but in any case, I'm like, how is it private?
It's true.
Right. Like, I just think like for people like me whose mouth is closed, like how would it get in there?
It's not getting in there.
I feel shit crawling on me and I wake up. It's happened.
Listen, I can tell you as a professional debunker of urban legends, it doesn't happen. Spiders don't want to go in a giant, wet, windy, frightening cave. There's no reason for a spider to go in there.
Right. Because wouldn't it happen when you're awake too? Like your mouth was just open. There was a spider nearby. If that was attracted to it, it would just start crawling up your face. Very rare.
But it's the last place a spider would ever want to go. But I wanted to just read you this really kind of adorable and insane newspaper article, or just a snippet of it from 1899, if you don't mind.
Oh, I love that.
Have you met the kissing bug yet? He is not a Jack the Kisser who waits in dark corners until a pretty girl passes when he jumps out and steals a kiss from pretty ruby lips.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I thought you'd like this. Nor is it a charm that carried on the person will make the youth or maiden very kissable. On the contrary, this latest fad in the bug line is a terror that does its own kissing. And the kiss is such an unfortunate thing to get that it makes the unwilling victim the reverse of kissable to fellow human beings of the opposite sex.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre.
Yeah, they're like, Jack the Ripper would be bad, but you know, there are reasons to want to kiss a woman on the face.
I know, but it's just the way we talk about. I mean, we're going to look back at the way we talk about things now. Hopefully, if we're still around in 100 years.
I sure hope so. I hope to cringe at myself.
Yeah.
Like, what was I saying?
Jeez. Yeah. And you know what? That's true. I hope to cringe at myself too. And I already do. And I look back, 7 years or however long this podcast's been going. It's like, I would have said that differently.
But that's a good sign. That's all right. Sign.
It's all right. But eventually this got so overblown that not only were people having what I think is like when we talk about hysteria, and if we divorce it from kind of the original meaning where it became this way too.
Yeah. Charged.
It was originally like an okay concept with Freud, and then it got weaponized, and then, whatever. Yeah. But we've transformed that meaning in one way to be kind of that psychosomatic issue where you hear about bugs. It's the same thing where you're like, someone's talking about bugs, you feel the bugs on your body.
Exactly.
Right?
Your mind's memory goes directly to like, I had an ant on me when I was a child. And now it's on my neck and I'm just slapping myself.
Exactly. And so it is like this kind of psychosomatic thing where you're hearing about these really dangerous bugs that are going to swell your hand up to like Mickey Mouse proportions. And
that's actually what happened to him. And we shouldn't laugh.
We shouldn't laugh, actually.
He has to wear those gloves because his hands are huge.
It's the kissing bug. I guess he's still around. He didn't perish 25 years later.
Yeah.
But
a very resilient mouse.
Do you know about, this is another, of course, because we did that swallowing spiders episode, I followed up with one of the preeminent spider experts.
Wow.
And we debunked some spider myths. And I think it's so interesting because when I say brown recluse, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. Anytime I see a spider, it's a black widow or it's a brown recluse, which I'm like, why the color's got to be so fucking dark?
Interesting.
What is it about them? But it's just like,
that's a whole other
those people. But in any case, But I often, those are the ones you're supposed to fear, right? The ones that are not. Yeah, like if it was a white spider, it would be like the angelic baby angel,
yes,
never sinned, innocent spider,
queen of the prom.
Yes. 100%.
But the interesting thing about the brown recluse, which I think is similar to some of the things we've talked about, is that, or especially the kissing bug, is that it was this way to categorize anything that you didn't understand on your body into this bite. You know, my mother, who I love dearly and who will never give up her story of being bitten by a brown recluse. Deep down, she knows.
Where it doesn't exist, right?
Deep down, she knows that she was not, but she won't admit it because it's a good story. And you know what? We're going to go with it here.
Yeah.
My mom was bitten by a brown recluse.
It happened and you weren't there.
It's real. And maybe she's the only one because they just don't exist in Washington State. Their bites are not what they are made out to be. Like, it's just a total made up thing, like through some fashion of just being like, this is the spider. Like, this guy is the guy. And it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, someone misidentified the spider in a lineup, and ever since then, it's just got a bad rap.
Can't escape the bad PR for sure. But anyway, I just, spiders for me are my issue, the thing I'm scared of. Do you remember the parachuting, like the flying spider panics?
Yes. And you know what? When I saw Charlotte's Web as a kid and they all just sort of fly off at the end, I was like, wait, that's a new storyline. I was feeling bad for the spider, but why are they going everywhere?
Yeah, that's why Charlotte's Web will always be a horror movie.
Exactly. The music changes and the screen darkens. You're like, shit, she is a disease.
Charlotte's Web 2. Spiders take New York.
Exactly. Right. The squeakquel. Here they come.
But the kissing bug really got very exaggerated. I loved this quote from an article I read. One self-reported victim from Brooklyn said the bug had, quote, a head like a rat and 2 long fangs.
Yo, dude.
You
didn't see that. Yeah, you didn't see that. How close it was on your eyeball? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And then another man from Indiana said a kissing bug dove and attacked his big toe as if it were boring for oil, which is like gross.
Yeah, really
gross
too
image.
Visceral. This guy wanted attention.
Yep.
That didn't even happen.
Yep. But it was really only like a 2-month thing. So similar to the ones that we've talked about today, it was like it just swelled up in the media and disappeared just as soon because it wasn't a real invasion. It was just a handful of cases, many of which we can't even actually identify as the kissing bug. But the reason it was called the kissing bug was that it would actually allegedly bite your lips, which is random. Yeah. And it reminded me of the spiders going in your mouth. It's like, why is it going
right? Why would it want to be right? And it's like, I feel like our faces are so much bigger than our lips that like it would just bite wherever.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand why it's like holding it in until it gets to our mouth.
I know. It's romantic. But I think something that when I'm reading this last part, it reminded me of the way that like murder hornets were so memeified and probably killer bees in its own way in its time. It becomes like a meta joke about like hysteria and about just like, we're so fucked. Right?
Yes.
It's like now we have murder hornets. So this is fun. This is from another article I found. So like replica versions of the kissing bug were being worn for like all kinds of occasions in forms of jewelry. So women were like taking it back and like putting them on tiaras and on their garter buckles. And
is it a beautiful bug? Like,
I mean, it kind of looks like a tick.
Yikes.
It's kind of I don't know what it is. I can't possibly get into the science of it. But yeah, they look like ticks to me, and they suck your blood. So, and I also, that's another interesting thing, is a lot of them are bloodsuckers, and that feels like a something. I don't know what. Right.
Another sort of just like, like the idea that it would be taking something from us, something so basic. And, it's a very understandable thing to, like, if you just say that is what it is, people, they can imagine it. Mm-hmm. Whereas like anything else is sort of like, you're going to have to be more specific. I don't know what inflates my hands.
Yeah, right.
I'm not familiar with like respiratory collapse, but blood being sucked, sure, I can see it. Yep. It's a vampire.
Yep. And with the kissing bug too, it became like a like romantic thing where it was like you were wearing it on dates, and the kissing bug, you know, became then kind of a quaint thing, wink, like the killer bee, you know. It's like now it's just this quaint thing from the 90s that we have tokens of in popular culture.
Totally.
And again, it's like we could go back to the Bible, and I'm sure people have written lots about the locusts and their deeper meaning from scripture. Yeah.
So, exactly. Yeah. They were doing a lot back then.
Yep. Well, that ends my kissing bug presentation. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about in terms of our insect panics? Do you have any Jerry Springer final thoughts?
Well, here's my truest final is that, like, I think that, you know, we talk about newspapers, we talk about media being able to push it out. And I'm curious to see where this goes in the future for a couple of reasons. One, you know, Hollywood is really in a tough spot right now.
Really bad.
But one of the like cheapest things to do is make something look bigger.
True.
Screen.
Yeah.
You could put it closer to the screen. You could use a green screen. All of these things are available to us. And so I do believe that, like, we're seeing an influx of horror films right now because they're some of the cheapest things to make.
Yep.
My prediction would be that, like, we will see a return to just sort of like bug media.
Cool.
And I also think, like, with AI, like, it's very easy to, you know, sort of sow this misinformation. And so I wonder when the next bug panic happens, how people will try to capitalize on that. You know, like, I don't know if you remember in the COVID era where there was that sort of like 3D rendering of what people's breath is like. It just
no,
like feels
I don't remember that.
Oh, it's horrible. It's like if you're within 6 feet of people, like, and you're talking to them, this is what like the particles are like. And it's just like
what you're talking about.
Cloud.
Did you ever see that movie Outbreak?
Yes.
That's what I think of is when they cough and they show all the germs like going through the movie theater. It's just like horrible. Yeah. Right.
You're like, geez, I'm doing all that just by talking. And so I think that like we will see a lot more just sort of AI-ified. Like if there was really just one bug, now there's a million. And, you know, I just expect that we'll just see more of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, the bug panic never really ends. It just evolves.
No, it can take many forms. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so just be prepared for the next one. You know, if you're prepared to run with the story, maybe take a deep breath and be like, is it really like that?
Yes. Yeah, it's always good. It's good to take a deep breath. We're big supporters. I kind of think that if everyone in America learned how to not breathe in their chest, not to be a hippie, but actually could do a deep breath, we might be in a lot better spot.
I agree.
So we're running on pure adrenaline all the time here.
All the time.
Okay, Akilah, do you want to tell us anything about the work you're doing right now that some of our audience might be interested in?
Totally. Well, if you like the dulcet sounds of my voice and it didn't give you the creeps talking about vermin, I do a podcast for Courier Newsroom called How Is This Better? It comes out every Friday. And, you know, we've talked about a lot of different subjects on that show. It's a short video podcast, like 20 to 25 minutes. And it's about policy and pop culture and things that have been proposed and sort of diving in and asking the question, how is this better? The spoiler alert is that most of the time it's not. Seems like, things are moving in a very interesting direction. And so I would love it if you'd check that out. Also, if you're just want to watch me shit post on the internet, I'm all over Instagram. My stories go hard. Instagram.com/AkilahH. And yeah, we just post a lot and it's a great pod. I've only heard good things and I enjoy making it.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it the last few days. I've been getting acquainted and it's been a really great resource, I think, too. Just to, again, we're just being beaten in the face every day with stuff. It's nice to actually pause and get a little context and stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah, I highly encourage everyone to listen to
Thank you so
much. And thank you so much to you for coming on and infesting and invading here. It's been really
a pleasure. Yeah. It's in my nature and I'm happy to do it.
No, and that's all we want. We just want to be invaded with new information. So
gorgeous.
Thanks again. And I really do think we should have you back on soon because this was a lot of fun.
Please do. I loved it.
This was American Hysteria. Make sure you check out Akilah's podcasts, How Is This Better? What a Day, and Rebel Spirit, as well as her YouTube channel, Akilah Obviously. Links in the episode notes. If you want to support American Hysteria and help us continue to be able to make it, you can go to patreon.com/American Hysteria or subscribe on Apple Plus. You'll get ad-free episodes as well as bonus content, which includes Hysteria Home Companion, another podcast that I do with our producer Miranda, where we tell you stories related to the topics that we cover and stories that we know that you'll love. If you subscribe right now, you will have a lot of content to listen to because we've been doing this for quite a long time. So go to patreon.com/American Hysteria or subscribe on Apple Plus. If you go to AmericanHysteria.com, you can leave us a message on the Urban Legends hotline about a tale that you remember from growing up or one you've heard recently, and we might do an entire investigation about it. You can also pick up some of our merch at AmericanHysteria.com, and 100% of those profits go to the Samir Project in Gaza. American Hysteria's producer and editor is Miranda Zickler. Our associate producer is Riley Swedelius-Smith. This episode has additional editing by Kaylee Jasperson, and I'm your host, Chelsey Weber-Smith. Thanks, as always, for listening, and I hope you have a great week.